Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Every day's a holiday here on the podcast. Matt Perkins, I'm looking forward to seeing what, we do against like this behemoth of a team on Saturday. I won't say I'm fairly optimistic, but I'm excited because I think maybe we've seen the Leaf turn over.
Man, I love your metaphors, brother. Like, it makes me so happy. Yeah, let's talk about today's theme of the show. What constitutes success for the Badgers in the last quarter of the season? They've played 9 games. They've got 3 left. In a crazy world, they could still make a bowl game. Should they pull off the upsets? Now, that's probably not going to happen. Let's face it. Our friends over at FanDuel, like we said on our last show, have Indiana, I think, still as a 30.5-point favorite as of the other day. I'm not exactly sure if that line has changed at all right now. No, it's down. It's down to 29.5, Matt Bernstein.
Let's go.
We've gained a point this week. Don't really know how. Doesn't matter. So today's show. What is success for the Badgers in the last quarter of the season? Bernie, I'll start by, giving the floor to you.
So I have a bunch of scenarios that I think are successful end of the years, if we want to go there. I still think if we lose out and we do it gracefully and in a way that looks like we're improving, I think that's a win for us. I know the axe is at the end of this tunnel and it's extremely important. I get it. I need to see some kind of competition the next 3 weeks. That's what I need to see. I think everyone wants to see it. We have guys that look like they're getting better. So let's keep that trend going. I want to see Grant Stack. I want to see Carter Smith throw the ball more. And I want to see them open the offense with him. Now it'll be his 3rd week of practice. He has a game under his belt, a winning game. So you build that confidence. So I think we could lose out and still have hope depending on how we look as we do it. So that's one scenario. I think that scenario could be likely, but I'm hopeful. This is what I'm hopeful for. I'm hopeful for a win. I think, when you really look at Indiana, they're
a juggernaut.
They're a juggernaut. The best game of the year might be them versus Ohio State in the championship. That might really be. So I just want the guys to compete, and I think that's valid. We've had a crazy up and down year. Some of the hugest lows I think we've been around in 20 years. I just want them to compete. And I want Carter Smith to go out there and just have a good time. That's what I'm saying. So I want Illinois or Minnesota. If we can beat one of those teams, that is a big win for us. I'm talking huge. If we lose to Illinois and we beat Minnesota, then I'm sitting pretty happy. I mean, obviously it's an axe. We have a lot of things to accomplish in the offseason, which we could talk about. But if we compete every game and lose out, I'm okay with it. If we beat one of those teams, that makes it even better. And if you win 2, then I might be off the hot seat of like, we should be firing people. Maybe we're just trying to get the algorithm right. It's just taking too long.
I think that for me, so at the beginning of the season, in the offseason, we said the record may not be as good, but if we see them competing, that will be a good thing for this year. That will constitute at least some level of success. For me, at this point now where I'm still sort of riding a little bit too high coming off of the victory this past week.
Dude, everyone is. There's not a Badger I've met with or talked to that's not sitting high as can be.
For me, winning the axe is, I don't want to say paramount, but winning the axe is really important. If they win the axe back, that to me gives so much positive momentum moving into the offseason. But it's taking a step back from that. I think that you have to be in the game for 4 quarters with Illinois. And I think you have to not lay a complete egg against Indiana. I think if they come out, and if it's another shutout against Indiana, I think, yes, we understand that Indiana is one of the best teams in the country. They're ranked number 2 for a reason. But, we know that this defense can slow down teams when they are on. Now, we didn't see that against Iowa. We didn't see that against Ohio State, but we have seen it against Oregon. We have seen it against Washington. And I'm really curious this weekend to see what the Wisconsin defensive backfield looks like against a very efficient passing attack, because the last super efficient passing attack that they faced was Ohio State, and Julian Sayin was playing pitch and catch the entire game.
Same with Alabama.
And so, to me, I'm really curious to see, is there something different schematically? Is there something different personnel-wise? We know that Preston Zachman is still going to be out for this game, so it's another game with Matt Young. Him and Austin Brown have been playing every snap at safety, and they're doing all right. The corners have been playing. Holman got a big pick last week, and I think that can go a long way to improving his stock and getting him back to the position he was in 2 years ago. And I would love to see. I would love to see some more turnovers, I think, is the other thing.
Yeah.
Really struggled. But this defense has struggled for most of the season, causing.
I agree.
Against Washington, what do? They force 2 turnovers, and one of them turns into the only touchdown that the Badgers scored in the game, right? The Mason Posa sack, fumble recovery down at whatever it was, the 7-yard line, leads to the one touchdown, Carter Smith running it in. And that ends up being one of the, the big differences in the game. And so for me, I need to see the defense cause a turnover or 2 against a team that doesn't really turn the ball over. But I feel like if they are going to, show me something, they need to cause turnovers, and they need to not just be, looking like a 7-on-7 defense, or like the Indiana quarterback receivers are playing against air.
Well, I'll tell you this. Our defense has looked fantastic in the last couple games, and we put them in hard positions, and we're asking a lot of them, and they play a lot more football. If you're playing defense, you want to come to Wisconsin right now, because you'll be on the field a lot. You'll be all over the field, and you have opportunity to make plays. These guys are making plays now. That's why I'm excited to see what they post up against the number 2 juggernaut. And Juggernaut.
I like the way you say Juggernaut. It sounds like you're from Australia.
Dude, listen, I'm excited about this because you're seeing guys make plays. Like we've said all along, play the young guys, build that culture, and they're doing it. I think you have to mix and match your secondary up. You like your coverages. You got to confuse them. It's hard to do on a good. You got to put guys in random positions. You got to take chances. I mean, we got to take some chances.
I think.
Listen, we are. The spread is 29.5 points. Like that's ridiculous. Take some chances. Let's see what we can do. Maybe you confuse them. One play is all we need for a turnover. Something happens. Mason Reiger gets his hand, and it just somehow happens. Yep. Right? We need something there. I'm going to flip it back on the offense. The offense needs to do something to me. They need to show me something. So what that means to me is we cannot we're asking the defense to do a lot, but we're making them do a lot because we're not staying on the field. We need to somehow figure out how to get first downs. We need to get some third down percentage, some third downs. I think that's some kind of consistent run game, but we need to mix and match the run. We've been doing a lot of the same. And I was sitting at Washington going, I know this play. We got to get back to doing a lot of motions. We got to confuse their defense. I mean, their defense is pretty good too. So we got to confuse them. We got to do things that get guys on the edge. I think Carter Smith, we got to get him in a rollout so he can run if he doesn't feel comfortable throwing. Mm-hmm. Got to get the tight ends working short yards. We got to get these plays. We got to get some easy pitch and catches. It seems like it's been impossible.
It has. And I like what you say about rollout. You give them a half field read, boom, read 1 isn't there, go to progression 2 isn't there, you take off and run, right? You're not
don't go. You're not asking him.
You're not asking him to read the field completely left to right, right to left against a very good Indiana defense and a very schemed up Indiana defense in his second game as a college quarterback, right? Like, it is not an easy task in your, for your first 2 game appearances to be against top 25 teams. That's not easy. But I think that I knew he could run a little bit. I didn't think he would be that effective as a runner, but I don't want to rely on his legs completely because they're so thin at quarterback. And if he's running too much, he's more likely to get knocked out. And yeah, he's a good size for a quarterback as a freshman, but he's still a freshman. He's still a little svelte. He's not 230, right? He's not Fernando Mendoza, right? The quarterback for Indiana who is big and strong and has that more prototype NFL build. I think that by the time Carter Smith is a junior or a senior, he could be at that height and weight, but right now he's still going to be a little skinny because he's a freshman, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Sure. I'll tell you, I met his dad. The guy dwarfed me. I mean, he's a tall dude, strong, not fat by all means. Like, I was like scared. He looked like an old lineman, like a Joe Thomas, like svelte, scary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just talking to him, I think what's great is, it's from a parent's perspective, but I feel like I got the feeling like he's built for this right now. Yeah. I know he's a freshman, and yes, there's going to be so many bumps and bruises and obstacles and mistakes that are made. It's how you bounce back. It's like Jim Sorgi, though Jim Sorgi didn't care. Like, he made a mistake. He's like, all right, too bad. And, you got to be that way. And that's how you got to be a quarterback. And not rely, not think back to the last play or the last 3 plays you missed a read. Like, who cares? So it excites me that we recruited a great quarterback.
Yep.
And we can see his progression actually in a season that is under a lot of turmoil. Listen, that kid's coming back next year.
Yep.
So these are the games that you put him out there and you go, listen, dude, you are going to can he redshirt after 4 games? Or
yep.
Yeah.
4 games.
So he can still redshirt this year, which is great. And I would say, dude, go out there. This is against one of the best teams you'll ever see, and have a blast. And do the fundamentals, do what you're coached. And if you don't see something you like, take off. And I'd also be like, don't forget, you can slide. Like, don't forget, you don't have to lower the boom. I see you trying, and Brooks did it too. And then, eventually you don't need to do that. There are other meatheads on the field like me who will make a block or knock heads. You got to take care of you because we have nobody else really. But listen, just him alone playing excites me.
Yes.
Hearing the hoopla and getting excited and meeting his family. Yeah, I know I'm sitting high on Carter Smith right now. But it excites me because that one bump of him coming late to the game when he slept through his alarm seems to have been like he owned it, which I love because people make mistakes. He owned it, and he's actively working his hardest to get into this position to be successful. And we're asking him again, Matt Perkins, you said it, to play top 25 team. I mean, I don't think he might not go against a team that's not in the top 25. Like
Minnesota is it. But the other, Washington, Indiana, Illinois, like that is up. Hey, folks, before we continue, I want to remind everyone tuning in that we continue to be proudly presented by Chris Anicetti and his entire team over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you're a collegiate athlete or parent of a collegiate athlete navigating NIL opportunities, Chris and his team are here to help maximize your earnings and protect your future. We all know that athletes train hard to be the best on the field, but who's making sure they're winning off the field? Chris Anicetti and his entire team at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. That's who. They don't just manage your money. They handle your entire financial world. From building a rock-solid financial plan tailored for athletes to paying bills, budgeting, setting up LLCs, and securing financing for cars, equipment, and whatever else you need so that you can focus on your game. Your career is short. Make every dollar count. Oak Bridge Wealth Management, where athletes build lasting wealth. Get in touch with Chris on Instagram at OakBridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakBridgeWM_ANICETE, or head on over to their website at oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. Chris Anicetti, Oak Bridge Wealth Management. They've been helping a lot of NCAA athletes and professional athletes get their money right. There's no one else better for this around that you are going to find. So make sure to get in touch with Chris and support the people who support us. All right, we're going to hop back into the show. I want to talk a little bit more with you, Bernstein, though, about the ground game, because you said it looked pretty predictable. Atuka runs hard. That's what I like about him. He makes one cut. He says, I'm going hard. And, to me, that's a little Monty Ballish, right? Because I think Monty ran that way a lot. Now, Monty obviously is one of the most prolific backs in the history of not just Wisconsin football, but all of college football. But I do see some shades of Monty there in terms of build and in terms of running style. Now, Monty ran behind an offensive line that had 6 future NFL players on it. I don't know how many future NFL players are on the current version of the offensive line that we have right now. Nonetheless, we know that this rushing attack is built around what? Outside zone. Right? We know that what they want to do is run outside zone. And so if they're going to do that, fine. But let's vary up the formations, vary up the pre-snap motion. And I think that another week with Carter Smith taking those first team reps in practice will allow them to actually do that, will allow him to get more comfortable making those calls in the huddle and executing those calls and knowing where guys are going to be. We saw, I think there was a play where, I think Vinny Anthony was going across or Treshka Kahuna was going across and during the snap and the snap hit him. Right. And that's just going to be a thing with reps as they do that more.
But I am not upset with those things. I'm not upset because
I'm not upset with that, but because I know that they can improve on
that's
those.
2 years of somebody, 2 years, 2 weeks of somebody being in a college playbook. That's a lot, dude. It's a lot for a quarterback. I'm just saying. Listen, I definitely hear that. I think we also need to figure out a better way to get some play action pass in there and from the shotgun. I mean, when I coached high school, listen, guys, it was high school. We ran inside zone a lot, which I'm obsessed with because you get dudes running, you get a cut. Just like getting Atuka likes, AD liked it. You get this cut and you are out, right? You get the linebackers running, over pursuing, and there's just holes all the time. But then you have a progression off of it where you do the same thing, and then you roll out, and you have a whole field because the D end usually crashes or something, and then you can just throw it. Or on the progression, you have the backside guard pull and get the D end. So I'm not saying they should run these plays only because I ran them in high school. What I'm saying is there has to be a progression off of all the plays. I am a fan of outside zone, but is Gideon Atuka a fan of outside zone? I'd ask him. Coach White sat in the meeting and goes, AD, what zone do you like? And it was not the one Ron Dane liked. Isn't that crazy? So these things, there are plays and listen, if you like outside zone, we're talking about one gap, right? We're not talking about outside zone is like outside of the tackle. It's like inside the tackle or inside the guard, right? These are 2 different zones. So AD liked one and Ron Dane liked one. You got to go with what you dudes like.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fly on the wall in there saying, I don't know if they're doing that or we're just going to be I think Phil Longo was stubborn and he's like, I'm going to run my plays. I don't see that happening here, but I do think you got to mix and match to what your guys are the best at doing.
Yeah, and to me, just looking at his running style, he seems like more of an inside zone guy. Right?
He just looks like it, but that doesn't mean
right that he does. Maybe his favorite play is a toss sweep. I don't know. I doubt it is, but you never know. And I think his best run, that the 22-yarder he pulled off was definitely outside zone. That he did that on.
Listen, I'm not saying don't run these plays because maybe they don't like it, but you find what the guys are best at. I think you have to come. We can't now. I'm going to say we can't just run power 12 times at a different formation.
Hey man, listen,
got to mix it up.
But here's the thing. I think if they're going to have some success, they need to run a little bit more power. Get Jackson Aker in there, lead blocking.
Listen, I was a fan of the handoff. I love that play.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of that. That was out of an I formation, but it can be out of anything.
Yep.
And it's an outside zone-ish. I mean, you're not zone blocking, and there's not really no cutback lane, so it's kind of not a zone. But You get that fullback out there. You pull a guard. You sometimes listen. Donovan Raiola was pulling.
Yep.
So like, you get some of these guys out there. You pull the guard and the tackle, or whoever you're down block with Grant Steck. We got to mix it up, and we got to find something that works. But I think we can do it. I mean, I don't think we're inept at offense. I think we've just struggled in.
The numbers say otherwise. The numbers say otherwise, Matt Burns.
Now, I will say to defend myself, I feel like we've been calling the wrong plays at the wrong times. A predictable screen pass is not a good play to call. An unpredictable screen pass is the best time, but it has to be practiced, has to be executed, right? Like, screen passes are an appetite for destruction, or they're like huge hits.
Yeah.
There's really no in between. I mean, there's like small little in betweens. What about quick passes? Just throw it to if the guy's 10 yards off, just throw it to Vinny Anthony. Yep. Let him work. I think we need a little bit of that. We need just a little bit.
I want to see some more. I want to see some. They had, I think, one kind of like a quick slant semi bubble screen to Chris Brooks that got a first down in the game. And I want to see the ball get into the hands of Tretch and Vinny quickly. Yeah. Right. Like you said, but that can't just be bubble screens. That can't just be, these quick screens, because they're not executing them super well at the moment. So what does that mean you have to do? Okay. Maybe it's a quick slant. Maybe it's a quick hitch. Maybe it is, just find a way to get, especially Tretch, like, he can get separation from DBs. So how do we get him in a position to do that and then let him cook? And they haven't found the recipe for that yet. And so, they've tried a couple jet sweeps, but I want to see that a little bit more. And that way, once you get that jet sweep motion early in the game, then you can build an inside running game off of that, right? Because then the linebackers are like, oh crap, I have to be cognizant of the guy going to the outside. They start flowing that way. You hit him, back on the inside with Gideon and Tuca running, between the tackles or whatever.
I'm also a big fan of, now with Carter Smith, is just the zone read. That's what you call it, right? Zone read. What's really nice is it's a zone. It could be a quarterback run, or it can be a bubble pass. And that is like the staple. But imagine I always like throwing the bubble, and then eventually when you catch people kind of falling asleep or over pursuing, you pump that and throw it over the top. Like a guy goes, the wide receiver goes out the block, and then you throw it over the top. I do think we have to take a couple chances down the field.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
We have to take some chances. Otherwise, we have to, 3 or 4, we have to. Listen, we are going to supposedly lose by 29.5 points. What does it matter if you throw the ball up to Vinny Anthony or Tretch, someone who's downfield deep,
or Eugene Hilton, or Jaden Ballard?
Let these guys go and make a play. Listen, who cares? You throw it 40 yards and it's a pick, and you tackle the guy, it's a punt. Yep. I mean, although our best player might not have touched the football during that punt, so maybe we don't want to do that. But I still cannot believe this is reality.
Well, so that's another question for me, Ben Bernstein. Will we see some more trickeration from the special teams? I mean, is Sean West our best offensive player right now? So we're going to get him in.
Listen, I think you have to have those prepared. I would love to see an opening kickoff. I would love to see some things that say, F you, Indiana.
Yeah.
We're going to, here's a squib kick right at the dude in the front, and we're going to try to recover it. And you know what? You guys think we're going to lose by 29.5? We have nothing to lose. We're playing better football. Let's try to do some of these whacked out things and turn the tide. I mean, listen, it's going to take an army. It's going to take everyone on that field to do it. Every time we went against Ohio State when they were ranked 1, 2, 3, whatever they were, or anyone up there, it takes everyone's buy-in. There cannot be someone in the locker room going, I don't know if I really want to do this play. No, it is strap the helmet on tighter, get your chin strap, get your mouthpiece in, and go lose a tooth. You got to be willing to sacrifice some things, and that's what I think this team can build towards. But you got to get the buy-in. We can talk about. I think we have 5 more minutes. We can still talk about I think we talked about Indiana enough. I think Illinois enough. Listen, it's the same. It's going to be the same things. We probably have some little tweaks.
Illinois has a really good Has a really good quarterback. Luke Altmaier has played very well this season. He's had multiple games with 4 touchdowns. He's a little bit more turnover prone. So I think that is something that they're going to have to do. And then Minnesota, I hate this is a cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway. Throw the records out. Like it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It's a fist fight. It doesn't
It's
matter.
Going to be, I feel like that Wisconsin matches up as well as they're going to against Minnesota as they do with any other Big Ten team. But, a lot of this is also going to come down to, can the defensive line continue to get penetration? Can Ben Barton and JVR Suggs and Parker Peterson and Brandon Lane continue to be disruptive? Because if they do that, that's when everything goes off schedule for the other team.
But what I'm saying is we need the O-line to put the team on their back and
push people around.
And you got to bully people. We need to bring that word back just for this. Shouldn't be in the schools. I get it. But you on the football field need to bully dudes.
That's your job.
It's your job is to own someone else. There's no nice way to do that. We're also playing. There's no nice way to do it in football. Like, this is not a participation trophy type of world in college football. It's a different silo.
Yeah.
It is kill or be killed.
Yep.
And I need the O-line, no matter where they line up, to go hard and to say, you guys want to play in the NFL? This is how you do it. You go and show somebody something. It's not going to the combine and just doing well. You got to put film on tape. That's right, not tape on film. You got to put film on tape. And I need them to step up. I need that group no matter where they line up. I don't care. You need to play your ass off. If you're the freaking right tackle and you got moved to left tackle or center, there needs to be something there, and you got to do your job. But you need to elevate that this week.
Yes.
Take a step forward. O-line, let's go, guys. Eat a lot and take a lot of pre-workout. And I don't know what else. Wear one of those, the domes on your head and go out and smash them. Smash your heads all over people.
All right, Matt Bernstein, we're going to finish off today with I've got a couple FanDuel questions for you because we do appreciate their support and their sponsorship here. So I'm going to give you some odds for some futures here, and you're going to tell me what you like. We're going to start with the Big Ten conference winner. Ohio State is still the favorite, -165. Indiana at +150. It's really a 2-team race unless some craziness happens and, those teams lose multiple games. Then you might see Oregon or Michigan or USC. But in that matchup, who do you like, Indiana or Ohio State?
Dude, that game I'm very excited to watch.
Me too.
Indiana's got a little bit of that payback. They've been putting points on the board. They're trying to kill teams. The problem is Ohio State is always so good. And sometimes you get an Ohio State that knows they're so good. And if Indiana catches Ohio State on that day, Indiana's going to win. But if Ohio State's coming and they're ready to play and they're all in and locked on, I don't know how you beat them.
I mean, I think Ohio State is the best player in the country, regardless of position, Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver. He is unfathomably good. He probably going to set the Ohio State record for receiving touchdowns. And as a sophomore, he's only a true sophomore where they're going to have him again next year. Carnell Tate is outstanding at receiver. Brandon Inniss is really good. And Julian Sayin, who, actually originally committed to Alabama, ended up going to Ohio State.
It's the funniest thing hearing what's his name talk about it. He's like, how dare I put that guy, what an idiot coach. I put him on the scout team. It's hilarious.
I think that team has been just so dominant throughout the season. Now, their Big Ten schedule has been pretty easy. Like they haven't had to face Oregon. They haven't played USC. Their toughest game is going to be Michigan at the end of the year. But this year's Michigan team is very flawed. They played Penn State, but Penn State was terrible this year. And so while, yes, they played Texas in the opening week of the season, I mean, they're a different team than they were then. I think Texas is a different team than they were then. So I think you kind of have to toss that game out in a lot of ways. But they've been a machine. And
machine.
while Indiana has the best win of any team in the Big Ten this year, and that is going and beating Oregon at Oregon, and they play with that chip on their shoulder, it is so hard for me to pick against just the litany of talent that they have there. I mean, on Caleb
Talent,
Downs,
culture, identity,
out of this world. They're the reigning national champs. They're going to try to go back to back, and that Big Ten title game is going to be absolutely wild.
It'll be awesome.
It's going to be so much fun, and it's so I'll be rooting for Indiana because I cannot root for Ohio State like ever. It's just like against all of my DNA.
Listen, both of them are going to be in the playoffs, so it doesn't. I mean, it does matter, but to win the Big Ten's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ohio State because I think you can't beat what they've created there for the past 30 years. I mean,
you really can't.
You can't. And their players are just outrageously good.
No, absolutely. Heisman Trophy. The top two contenders are Fernando Mendoza from Indiana at plus 130, Julian Sain from Ohio State plus 170. You got the quarterback at the next tier, kind of you get Marcel Reed, Texas A&M's quarterback at plus 700, Alabama's quarterback Ty Simpson plus 800. And then once you get past that, you've got my baby boy Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt plus 2,000. Jeremiah,
you don't need to go past that.
No, you don't. I think.
Listen, it'll all shake out for the Big Ten championship.
I think
that's it.
Probably the quarterback that wins the Big Ten title game is probably the quarterback that wins.
If that's what happens, if that's I think that's the guy who wins that is the guy. Well, the guy who plays the best. Listen, if one of those dudes had 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and lose, I think that person's probably still the Heisman. But
yeah, I still think the narrative with Mendoza in Indiana to me is probably a little bit more compelling for voters than.
Sure, but it really matters.
It really
the Big Ten championship will matter.
It really does, and how they play in their last 3 games of the regular season, right?
You're right. Everything matters up until that point.
Yeah, and so I like Fernando Mendoza. I love his story. He's not a very good quote, but he is a really exciting player to watch. And he had that Heisman moment last week against Penn State with that touchdown at the end of the game where they won by a blade of grass. And I think that really matters because I don't think Julian Sain's had that Heisman moment because they've just blown everyone out. And so, I also think those
are Heisman moments.
but also when you're playing with so much talent around you as well, like when you have just like the embarrassment of riches that Ohio State has, I think it does detract from them a little because it's so clear he is throwing to the best wide receivers in the country that his job.
It matters. The next 3 games matter. The next 4 for them matters.
Yeah.
We don't have to keep digging. Do
you think it ends up being Ohio State and Indiana for the national title as well? Do you think those are?
That's a little bit harder.
Do you like, is Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia? I think Alabama's got as good a shot as anyone. Yes, they lost to Florida State in week one of the season, but since then they've been an absolute wagon.
I think they have a good shot to get there, top 4 for sure. I mean, I would agree that they could do it. But you do, the roads do go through some pretty solid teams, but they're number 2 in the nation for a reason. Yeah. So.
I think that Texas A&M has had an easy SEC schedule this year. They've avoided Ole Miss and Georgia and Alabama and but they're a really good team. They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and so I mean, what do we even know about Notre Dame? They lost their 2 biggest games of the year, but they've rolled everyone else. So it's all so up in the air still. But I think give me the choice of Ohio State or the field for the national title, I'm probably picking Ohio State. But that's why they're the betting favorite over there on FanDuel. We encourage you, if you are interested in wagering on those, to head over to FanDuel. And we encourage you as well to like, subscribe, rate, review, Believe in Badgers here on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. We'll be back again next week, Monday morning fullback, breaking down whatever happens in Bloomington this weekend. And looking forward to more guests, more fun conversations, and more of your beautiful face, Matt Bernstein. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.